Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon from wherever you are. Welcome to our lemonade stand where we serve you good lemonade or drinks and good conversation. My name is Sheila and I am one of the Tanchocolates. um Sorry about that sound update. Um yeah. Hello. This is an experience, and I'm really hoping that my ramblingness and my tangents don't get like overwhelming. But yeah, welcome. Um, I'm by myself. And today I am going to be answering a couple of questions that were asked, just to, get to know me a little bit more. And when Sophie comes back, she will answer the same exact questions, or at least, um, mostly the same questions. I try to keep it at 9 just to save time. And just knowing me, I will go on and on and on and on. And we don't want that. We want to keep this at like 55 minutes. But yes, before we go into the questions, I wanted to share you what I'm drinking today. So, what I got here is some jasmine tea. I am still recovering from my bronchitis. Um, I have been, taking medicine, etc., like that. But of course, it's still important for me to hydrate and not drink really, really, really cold things and whatnot. So I've just been keeping at tea. Slowly introducing coffee again into my diet. But tea can also be caffeinated, so it's a win-win in a way. But yeah, this is Jasmine. And yeah, I think we cheers after that. Yeah, we cheers. So, cheers. Cheers. That was good. That was literally a sip, but it's okay. um, so, um, see, I typically like to have things prepared like super super ahead of time, but I know that with our podcast it's very we have the questions set and we have everything like planned out, but in terms of conversation it's kind of a free roam from there. So I have these questions. I'm going to answer them not in specific order. I'm just going to pick one and answer. And I'm going to try not to say that much because you see, the amount of times I will say it is like a drinking game. So we're just going to do our best to talk as smoothly as possible. But yeah, so getting into the questions. First question is an interesting one because I actually didn't know what the specific word is or term, and I had to search it up. So the question is, sorry, the question is, how do you feel about grift culture? Are you over or under your expectations? So I did not know what grift culture was. I've never heard of it. And when I did search it up on Google, it said that the word grift means to obtain money or property illicitly, as in a confidence game. So I'm guessing grift culture is like the expectation of you being on top, the need to be on top, and above other people and stuff like that. So that's how I feel about it. I'm still not quite sure if I'm understanding that term right, but it's toxic, I feel like, especially with like my generation, the need to get money, the need to be at the tippy top is like so pressuring, especially with like the careers that, like I've seen a couple of my friends have, as well as like in comparison to mine. Um, you know, as a teacher, I feel like I think from the moment I chose to be a teacher, I stopped comparing myself to other people in terms of occupation, just because being a teacher is something that I actually want to do and that I am in love with, and I don't really care what other people think. So I hope I answered that question right. But in terms of like how I feel, if I'm over or under my own expectations, I think I'm figuring that out right now. I'm neither. I'm surprised at the growth I've gone through the years, but I feel like my expectations keep developing with each, learning experience, etc., like that. So it's just like an ongoing fight to be better and do better for myself. I think that's also the difference, is that I've stopped trying to be better for other people, and I've started to be better for myself in terms of my career, which makes it easier to go to work. Of course, it's like inevitable to compare myself to other people in the same field, but in the end of the day, like, my job is to help kids and to help students, and while also working alongside teachers, not as a competition, but like cooperation, teamwork, etc., like that. So yes, I hope I answered that question, and if I didn't, for the person who asked this question, if I didn't answer this properly, please feel free to correct me or clarify. But yeah, I feel like I answered that question enough. Yes. Okay, so next question is, do you have any identity issues right now with what you want to do or feel? And I'm guessing this question is related to careers, but I'm going to also answer it as a personal thing too. Starting with like my career identity as a teacher, I have been prior to my graduation, I've been in school for many, many years. I've been in college for many, many years, and the moment I stepped out of college, that's where like I've started to realize that my identity is shifting. I'm not a student and a teacher anymore. I'm just a teacher, and I feel that I'm steering away from who I actually am as a person, and like separating my teacher personality with my own personality, because I'm a completely different person in the classroom, and that's pretty much like typical in terms of having your own classroom, and having to prioritize a lot of things that you're not normally prioritizing as like an assistant or etc., like that. But I feel in terms of what I want to do, and how I feel versus how I feel, I am still in the path of figuring that out. I do want to, like, what I want to do is be a teacher, and how I feel is that there are a lot of obstacles that I'm still overcoming to become the teacher that I want to be in the end. But of course, there's other like factors that go into that, right? Like one example is the job market. Every year, the teacher pool is like either open or not open, or you join it and then you never get anything back, or schools are really desperate to get teachers. It's like a wave every year, and so of course that makes me feel discouraged in a way. But of course, like, I try my best not to make that impact what I actually like, what my actual goal is. Yeah, it's still a work in progress, honestly. And like in terms of, like, in general, like identity issues, I'm still learning how to be a teacher. I feel like it's just an ongoing learning experience, and it can be difficult, but I try not to, hold myself down on it. Yeah, so that's in terms of career, and I hope that I answered that pretty much correct. But in terms of personal, like who I am as a person. Um, yes and no. I feel like identity wise, I have grown to understand what kind of human being I am, um, especially when I'm interacting with other people. Um, I'm trying to unlearn wanting to please people, um, and focusing on what is right for me. And if pleasing people to an extent makes me happy, then sure. But as I'm taking up a literal leader role, I really had to change up my personality where I'm not always so nice. And it sucks. I feel like it's not me anymore. But that's also, I still have to understand that I'm growing and I'm an adult now, and that, I'm going to interact with different people. I'm going to engage in different environments. And it's important for me to adapt to it while not lingering away from like my own morals and stuff like that. And then I don't know if I'm explaining that right. Um, but yeah, I want to be confident in myself without having to always please people, alongside pleasing people. Um, but yeah, um, yeah, confidence is definitely like a big factor in both my career and my personality, like in my personal life. Um, so I'm really trying to project that out of just my career to, excuse me, to what I do every day other than work. But yeah, I think that answers it enough without going out of tangent. Um, let's see. Is there another way of me answering it? Do you have any identity issues? Um, um, let's see. I think. See, this shows I don't really talk much about my own identity, which sucks because I used to when I was in college. But um, um, I guess also another personal thing that relates to my identity is like being a sister, which, it can be taken in a good way or a bad way. And I love being a twin, don't get me wrong, but there's always, even as an adult, occasionally I'll still feel that like tension of appeasing my parents, or like, doing the best that I can, um, without having to always compare myself with Sophie. Um, and I feel like for many years that was something that was of a goal of mine, and it sucked because I didn't really want to have to go through that. But I feel like that's inevitable when having a twin. Um, it's not as bad now, as you can tell. Like we are going through different paths, and it makes it easier to not compare myself with her. But occasionally, just occasionally, I will like kind of take a moment to think about like what I'm doing with my career, if I really want to do it, or the fact that I haven't moved out yet, is also something that, that keeps me a little bit like worried about myself in terms of comparison. But I always have to remember that everyone goes in their own pace, etc. like that. Um, but I think that also connects with the next question, which I'm going to continue on because I'm overthinking the second question. How, in your perspective, um, feel about having a sister, specifically a twin? Does that impact your own identity? um, Continuing on, um, I love being a twin. Like I said, I love being a twin so much that I can't even imagine, obviously, I can't even imagine being a single child or having a different type of sibling, just like, a brother or, a sister, but not a twin. It's made me feel a sense of belonging and not feeling alone. And of course, minus the occasional comparing, I feel like in general my respect for Sophie has grown me as a person. Like to do better for myself. But yeah, I love her. She inspires me every day. Um and I wouldn't want it any other way, But yeah. Excuse me. Let me drink some tea because I'm. Okay. So, let's see. Let's go into the next question. What got you into teaching, and how did this change over the years? I'm not sure if I understand that question right. As just like the previous questions. I think I've shared this in a previous episode already, but just to answer, I got into teaching because I had worked at a preschool daycare as a part-time. It was supposed to be a summer job initially because I was still in school, and I was still in high school, but I was doing Running Start, and I was in the course of going into nursing. But as the time continued, when I was like still working as a floater teacher, I've learned that I love children, and just helping them and supporting them and seeing them grow, like made my life a little bit easier. And of course, work is work and work is hard, but I always admired going to work as at that age, in comparison to going to school, like. That was just something I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And look at me now. I'm a teacher. But yeah, I really love kids. And, even when I was in nursing, I was looking at pediatrics specifically. So, it was just a obvious transition. I love teaching. I love, preparing different activities and just like expressing my own creativity while also being able to see other kiddos as like express themselves, etc., like that. Over the years, of course, there has been tension, and I've actually learned the reality of teaching, especially now that I am in a role as a lead teacher. It's a lot harder, and I've taught 4th grade, so that's also a lot harder. And being a teacher isn't like it isn't as simple as most people think, because you have to really keep your brain working even after hours. Like it's like a natural thing at that point. Like once you get the role of like using your brain all the time, it just keeps rolling even at sleep. Sometimes I dream about teaching and it sucks, but I think I've gotten used to that, and right now I'm trying to I'm continuing to find different ways to convince myself that I love teaching still. I'm not trying to let the stress put me down. I'm good at what I do, and that's just how I'm trying to encourage myself on. And yeah, I see myself doing it for many, 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 many years to come. Not sure what grades yet, but we'll see how the job market goes. Yeah, I've gotten a couple questions about like when I'm going to go back into like grade school and stuff like that. Well, I don't know. I just started my preschool position, and already supporting 4.5 to 5-year-olds is just insane in a good way. It's definitely a big leap from 1 to 3 years old, but I'm starting to get the hang of it. It's pretty much nice to be able to enact what I've learned in my bachelor's program, but also try to express what I learned in my master's through like classroom expectations, redirections, like redirection type, let's switch that, like different redirection ways. Oh god, I'm already tripping up on my words. But yeah, just I'm trying to enact what I learned in college. I'm able to do that now in preschool because they're older kids and they're able to have that independent mind as well as being able to express it. So it makes it easier, but of course, I don't know where the years will come. I'm enjoying it while it lasts right now. So yeah, that is my answer for that question. Let's continue on. How was college life? Oh goodness. Any regrets? I'm gonna try not to answer this question as much because I know for our next, me and Sophie's next episode for part 3 of the like our twin, reconciliation. I don't know if that's the right word. Of our twin series. We're gonna be talking about our college life, but just in general, I liked college. I started college pretty young because I did the Running Start program. I think it sucked that I was in college for longer than I initially planned. But, if it wasn't for that and if it wasn't for the pandemic, like I wouldn't be in the air, like the place that I'm in right now. I don't think. Do I have any regrets? I don't think so. It sounds cliche, but I feel like if I regretted something, then I'm also regretting where I'm at right now. I do wish I had been more open to making new friends. I did make friends like along the way, but they weren't that long. I was just friends because they were my classmates. But of course, in my master's program, I was able to gain really, really close friends because we were able to like suffer through the student teaching program. But of course, like in my Running Start days, still high school, and I was friends with a lot of older people because they were my classmates. And of course, like that kind of faded away. But in general, I feel like I did what I did, and now I'm here. So try not to have any regrets as much as possible. Okay, next question. Away from like work and school and stuff like that. Why did you stop making YouTube videos? I'm guessing this question means my personal YouTube. I had 2 YouTube channels. One of them was called Super TG888, and that was with Sophie initially, but then I took it for myself and I put in covers and stuff like that. And then another one was the one I have at the moment, and that's Sheila the Bunny. And a lot of the videos I do post there, like the most recent ones, are privated. I privated because they were for school. But the reason why I stopped making YouTube videos is because of time. I feel like even during school and like balancing that with work, I just never had time. And whenever I did have time, I wanted to use it for, leisure things. Whether it's gaming or watching YouTube or just doing journaling, etc. like that. And I do still love making videos, and a lot of people know that because I post on Instagram and I post it on TikTok. So, but the thing is, the reason why I post it on there is because they're pretty short videos, and for the most part, they don't take much effort in terms of in comparison to YouTube videos. And YouTube videos, especially the ones I wanted to make, were a lot longer than 60 seconds or 10 minutes, So I just decided that it would just be better to stick to these specific platforms rather than YouTube. And there's also another YouTube channel, of course, Tanchocolates. And I think me and Sophie already kind of addressed it, but we just didn't have time to make more covers. Of course, we do occasionally post on Facebook, but that's for mostly for family and friends who are, our friends on Facebook. But Um, yeah, I would like to go back. I loved making YouTube videos. I think during the pandemic, it was a lot easier to do it because I had more time. But yeah, I feel like if I do go into it, I really have to balance my personal schedule with work, etc. Because now I'm not a student, so there might be like a window possibility. I did try last month to make a video, but I've never gotten around to editing, and I just ended up deleting it, and it sucks. But that's just how it is sometimes. But I know Sophie does, and I think she'll talk about it on her own video. But yeah, I think we can move on to the next question. I haven't even drank any of my tea. This feels so weird. I have to take a moment. This feels so weird because I'm so used to like talking to a camera for like my close friends on Instagram. But the fact that it's already like 25 minutes long is insane to me. But that's a lot shorter. I feel like I'm talking at a good pace. But yeah, let's go into the next question. Let's see. Wow, that's a lot. That's a switch. Okay, sorry. How do you deal with heartbreak? Shit. Wow, that's a definite switch from the last couple questions. God. Okay. Okay, let's take a sip before we answer this question. Shit. How do you deal with heartbreak? I don't. I think it's hard for me to answer because it's been many years since I did feel heartbreak, or like really, really painful heartbreak. But taking my mind temporarily back into that position, yikes, to answer this question, I God, I emote. I emote first when, like, especially when it's the first part of heartbreak. I try to release my emotions as much as I can. And then when I'm ready, I try to talk it out, whether it's with my sister or with my parents, specifically my mom. Of course, when I'm comfortable. And if I'm not ready to talk about it, I like writing about it. Excuse me, in my journal. And I just like I try to like let it out as much as possible. Back then, when it came to heartbreak, I did a super petty thing. Like I would always post, knowing that whether or not the person still follows me or not, they can see, because I used to have my Instagram, for example, public. Of course, like I had different reasons why I privated it now, but I was like, oh, I'm gonna post, so I'm gonna show off like my growth and that I didn't need them. Such a petty thing, such like, I don't know. It's not empowering at all. And it definitely didn't help in terms of my healing process. Especially, I think it takes time. I feel like with dealing with heartbreak, it takes me at least a lot of time, even months after. Back then, I relied on other people to heal my heartbreak. I think I've learned over the years that you are the only person that can heal your own heartbreak. Someone can come into your life and the heartbreak might not be as painful, but they're just a temporary hold. And once, like, especially if you are still triggered by different things, or if you still enact on bad habits from your previous relationship that emphasized the heartbreak, that your heartbreak will never heal. Do not rely on people to solve that problem. And I learned that the hard way. I learned that on my own, and it sucked. But I've grown to realize and learn that, you know, heartbreak is a natural human feeling, and that whether it's big or small, it's not going to kill you. It's not going to harm you in that way. But of course that's easier said. Like, the fact that healing yourself from heartbreak is easier said than done, but I think I had to teach myself that. And like, of course, I am in a healthy long-term relationship. But even then, even if you're in a healthy relationship, sometimes heartbreak comes and goes, if your partner makes a mistake or you make a mistake, or if there's a fight, etc. like that, heartbreak is inevitable. But the only way to solve that, especially when you're in a relationship, is to like talk it out, understand each other's boundaries, etc. like that. And again, I learned that the hard way. But yeah, at least in terms of how I feel like that is how I deal with it. I hope I answered that without going over and beyond the intention of the question, but yeah. Let's go into the next question, shall we? What is one thing that you love about each other? And I'm guessing this is asking, I have no idea what this question is. I'm going to answer it in two ways. What is one thing that you love about each other in terms of me and Sophie? No, I think this question is intended for my partner. I think it's intended for me and John. Because it's, okay, what is one thing you love about each other? No, we'll answer it with Sophie and me. What is one thing you love about each other, me and Sophie? One thing I love about Sophie is that she is brave, and she knows when to step up for herself. Of course, she does have that fear sometimes, and like, when I'm there, she always relies on me to do things, and I do that, vice versa. But of course, like, if there's a spider, she will not kill it. If there's a bug, she will not kill it. She expects me to do it. But when it counts and when it matters, she will step up. And she perseveres no matter what kind of like trial she goes through. She continues to like grow herself in like skills as well as like identity wise. Like, she's just, I know she doesn't like it when I shower her with compliments, but every single day she inspires me, and that's definitely one thing that I love about her. Plus, she's my best friend, so that's inevitable. Okay, next way of answering this question: what is one thing you love about each other, me and John? One thing that I love about John is that he is a good listener. I talk a lot. I know there's a trope, like a relationship trope, where it's like the guy, like one partner is the listener, and the other partner is a talker. I'm definitely the talker. Of course, okay, like John will talk, but like in terms of ratio in conversation, I do tend to go on and on and on and on and on and on. And I love John, and I admire that he stays and listens, and he doesn't tell me to shut up and stuff like that. And even after listening to me go on tangent, he will respond with a genuine response. And if he's confused, he will ask me like, huh? Can you repeat that? Like, he wants me to talk again. He wants me to talk more. And, I feel like that's also like a factor of what makes our relationship so strong, is that like he respects that part of me. I don't feel like a burden when talking to him, because he makes me feel like my words matter. Of course, I do the same with him. And I think that's also something that both of us need as teachers, because obviously he's a teacher too, and like we deal with pretty much similar issues. Of course, he teaches 5th grade. I teach not even elementary school yet, but even in that case, I'm able to provide him like support because we both went to school together. We both, taught upper grades. Excuse me. Oh God. I should have gave a warning. Oh God. Sorry. Whew. I should have gave a warning about like coughs, possible coughs. But yeah. So yeah, he that's something that we both kind of like provide for ourselves, but yeah. That's one thing I love about John. See, I already forgot like the train of thought as I was coughing. But yeah, I hope that answers that question because each other is very broad. Okay. Okay, now this question aligns with the previous question. What is one thing you hate about each other, but wouldn't change about each other? What the heck? Okay. What is one thing you hate about? What is one thing you hate but wouldn't change about each other? Okay, to answer for Sophie, one thing that I hate but wouldn't change about Sophie is her teasing, I guess. There is this bad habit that Sophie does where like, especially when I'm annoyed, she will try to finish my thought or she will try to answer for me if she asks me something, and like she would finish my sentence without, consenting with me first, and it would just annoy me like so much. But if it wasn't for that, I feel like our friendly quarrels wouldn't exist. I feel like it really tests and practices my patience with her. When it does piss me off, I will enact. But I think her teasing and her like joking around to annoy me, like I hate, but I definitely would not want her to stop doing it because it would be boring. I feel like our like relationship would just be boring, and we just fighting is inevitable with siblings, and even if it's a little simple quarrel, I honestly don't mind. But yeah, I'm gonna answer that just for Sophie because I think this question and the previous one is what do you call it? For Sophie. So I'll leave it at that. I think that was 9 questions, but I don't mind adding this one. Okay. I think I'm gonna have this as a last question. You drive? How is driving so far? Finally, someone pointed it out. I feel like ever since I got my license, like no one's really wondered. Little backstory. I never intended on getting my license anytime soon. For many years, even at the age where we were able to go to driver's school and get our license, I, of course, wanted it like everyone else, but I had to choose between running start and driver's ed. And I wanted to do running start because, of course, I didn't want my parents paying for both programs. So I decided to just do running start and hopefully do driver's ed later on. Later on meant like, I don't know, 10 years. Like long time. And of course, it wasn't until last year, 2024, where I had decided that it was just time. I did get my permit like 6 months before I took my driver's, of course, 6 months before I took my driver's test, I believe. No, maybe a year. I took my permit test for why am I not speaking English right? I took my permit test pretty much earlier and had a lot of time to practice, but of course I didn't start practicing and enacting driving until like the second to last month. And I guess I chose to do it because I wanted I was with the intent of applying for jobs for teachers, for teaching, and knowing that it would be a lot easier for me if I drove rather than always commuting on bus. And I used that as an excuse to get a license. And honestly, I wouldn't regret it at all. I love driving, but also gained some hatred towards it because people are freaking annoying. I want to clear this now. I want to clear the air. I didn't. It's not that I was scared of driving. It's not that I knew I was incapable of it. It was more of I do not trust other people on the road with me because I am a perfectionist, and it's not always so good to be a perfectionist with driving, but it's always good to be safe. I am good enough that I can keep myself safe and other people safe, but I don't know people on the road, of course, and there are stupid ass people on the road, and I've learned that, and it's already almost, I think it's almost half a year, shoot. It's definitely almost half a year since I got my license, and I've met a lot of stupid people on the road, and like I start to question like how the hell were they able to get their license? Of course, I'm not a perfect driver myself, but in comparison to like other people, it's insane. And it's quite surprising that they have not, gotten their license revoked or something like that. I don't know. It was definitely a struggle to get the license. And driving was a pain. Practicing driving was a pain, but I do want to thank Ate Christine, thanks Steven, and Sophie for, helping me drive. Yeah. Was it Steven? I'm gonna thank you anyways because you encouraged me in general. Sorry, it's been a while. Papa, my dad also helped me too. Like I was so used to big cars, and now I have mini SUV. So, yeah, I love driving. It's very convenient, and I also wanted to prove to people that I was capable of driving because I had a bunch of people at a certain point would always judge me for saying I'm not ready to drive. You know what? You know who you are. You know who you spoke. Like, I took offense to that, okay? I am capable of driving, and look at me now. I have a car. I have a license. I've been driving. Drive to work, everywhere. It's on me. I did it for myself, but I also wanted to prove to people, which literally contradicts what I just said. But yeah, I do like to drive. And it's very nice to be able to drive my mom too because she doesn't drive. And so it's me, my dad, and of course Sophie. But also like, seeing family. I'm able to do that without having to expect someone else to pick me up or drive, or like hanging out with my friends. Like I don't have to feel pressure to ask, on me. And yeah, it's nice. I think I've got the muscle memory down. And I love my car. I love Levi very much. And, him and I are going to be best friends for quite a while. But yeah, I think that I'm going to answer that. I think that's my last question to answer. I hope I answered the questions okay. I hope I answered them decently. And if there's any questions I may need clarification on or I may have not answered right, please let me know in the comments. Or, if, we're friends, DM me because I like to go on tangent. And sometimes these tangents don't answer the question. So, I rely on Sophie to help to help clarify for me. But, look at me now. I'm by myself, not even pouring more tea. Oh shit. But yeah, before I end this episode, I would like to share with you my drink of the day or drink of the week. Oh shit. My drink of the week would have to be goodness. My drink of the week would have to be, oh goodness. Oh, honey lemon. No, I already said that. I would have to say it could be Keurig vanilla latte Dunkin' Donuts. I think that is it. Again, I'm trying to include coffee back into my diet. Of course, I'm pretty much almost recovered. And so vanilla latte is delicious and easy to make because of my Keurig. So I like to drink that in the mornings, bring it along with me. And yeah, I ran out, so that sucks. I have to get more. I also have to get Kopiko because I keep running out of Kopiko because I love it so much. But yeah, there's a lot of things I need to get. But yeah, I miss Sophie. But I really, I really hope you all enjoyed this episode, this interesting episode. And if you have any suggestions for future episodes, or future topics that you would like me and Sophie to chat about after part 3 of the twin origin story, please comment below. Or just let us know through Instagram or in the comments. And yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I think we have an outro. I don't think we have an outro. Yeah, that was my outro. All right. Have a great night. Have a great morning. Have a great afternoon. And I will see you next time. Cheers. I should have drank that drink immediately after. But, yep.